I'd like to call to order the Monday, September 9th meeting of the City of Algoma Common Council. I'll have the clerk take the roll, please.
Marion.
Here.
Gashler.
Here.
Cleveland.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Weeze.
Here.
Meverden.
Here.
Pavick.
Here.
And Alderman Schmidt is excused.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the minutes reflect that this meeting is held in compliance with the open meeting law. Before we adopt the agenda, I would like the council to approve a change to the agenda. It's not an addition, it's already on there. I'd like item 7, which is the swearing-in ceremony for Officer Parle, moved to right at the end of new business. That way Mr. Parle and his family didn't have to sit through the whole meeting tonight, so.
So move.
Moved by Scott.
Second.
Second by John. All those in favor of that change, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then I'll accept a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Jackie.
Second.
Second by Mitch. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting minutes from August 5th and August 21st. Did everybody have a chance to look at those? Moved by Jake. Second by Lee. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we're going to go into item 8, and that's the public hearing. We are going to call the public hearing to order. And at that point, it's regarding the proposed zoning ordinance change to allow for storage buildings prior to a dwelling as a conditional use in an R2 zoning district. This came before the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission had met on that several times. At the last meeting, they decided to send it off to the council, to let the council make the final decision on whether or not you want to allow that zoning ordinance change. So tonight, it's a public hearing to hear from anybody that's in favor of it and also anybody that's against it. So I will now open up the public hearing. It is 6:02. Is there anybody here to speak in favor, first of all, of the zoning change? Sir, come on up to the podium and then just state your name and your address for the record, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Nick Iwan. I live on 217 Sunset Avenue. So what I was initially planning to do is I was looking for a piece of property on Sunset Avenue. What I wanted to do is put up a garage essentially. Well, obviously we know that was going to be kind of a challenge before a house was there. So that's kind of why I brought this up and just wanted to see what we could do. And if you guys were interested, I do have some plans kind of regarding what I had in mind. If you guys were familiar with anything that I had done in the past, I don't know if some of you guys have seen it.
I think the only ones that have seen anything, Nick, were those at the Planning Commission.
Okay.
So the majority of the council has not seen it. If you would like to pass them around.
Yeah,
feel free to
absolutely.
do that.
Absolutely. I do have elevations of the building itself that I'd like to put up, and then I do have a kind of visual representation of what the property would look like in the event that, say, a house would go up after the fact down the road. So I will.
Just started on that end with
Okay.
Jake
I will
over there,
pass these
please.
around. Those are the 2 pages of the elevations, and then this is kind of the rough idea of the property.
Okay. Is there anything else, any other comments that you have at this
I
point?
can let everyone review that and
Okay.
see if there's any comments after that or questions. And
What's your time frame, Nick?
well, the time frame for the garage, I was hoping, I would say, and I have no particular one, but within a couple years, I'd like to see the garage start going up. But then, if a house were to go up, that is to be determined. I don't really have a particular frame because obviously we know that that's expensive to do, and being a single person, it's kind of hard. But I would like to see one go up in the future. But the garage, I'd like to see in a couple years.
Just a comment from the Planning Commission. Some of the things that the Planning Commission discussed was, if we're going to change it, what kind of restrictions do we put on the type of building, as far as height-wise, size depending on the size of the lot and things like that. So those were some of the concerns that they expressed, and I think that's why Nick has come back now with some drawings and stuff that we looked at.
And later on, I'd obviously get more of an exact size of the property to kind of, show a better representation of what it would be. But what I have there is just kind of a rough guess to kind of give you a scale and a layout of what would be there in the future.
And this, for everybody that is familiar with Sunset Avenue, are you familiar with that? This building would not sit on Sunset Avenue.
Correct.
As you can see, there is a driveway that would go to the back of the building. Is this, and this is the approximate size of a house that would go up
Yep,
later?
it's approximate, that's about the approximate size to say your typical 2,000 square foot house in that range. I have no particular plans for, the exact layout of a house or the
Right.
size of it right now, but that's just a visual representation.
Okay, I'll wait till that gets around to the last one.
Absolutely.
And that's right next door to your mom's house?
It would actually be next door to Phil and Jenny Schmidt.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's
North of us.
They're north.
Yep,
There's an empty lot there.
one in between.
yep, correct.
Is there a proposed street to go, is that laid out that,
Well, yes, I think correct. There is behind there, there's maps of it somewhere, right?
so how does this affect the layout of the
That,
streets?
what I would like to do is actually take the property and go up to that proposed road, and that's as far as I'd go back with it.
Okay.
Keeping the road in mind, obviously, and everything we'd need to follow with that road being back there. But yeah, I have taken into consideration that the road is back there.
So the road would run behind the building?
Correct.
Okay. Would you be requiring water and sewer?
Yes.
Electric in there too?
Yes.
Okay, John's the last one looking at it. Any questions of Nick before I let him go?
Do you already have the property, Nick?
I do not.
Okay, so this is all tentative.
Yep.
I have a question of
Yes.
why you selected a residential lot for this project as opposed to something that would allow a standalone garage.
Well, I guess the reason being is in the future, I do want to stay in the city of Algoma. I don't particularly want to be out in the country, if that's kind of what you're asking, more or less, to be outside of town. I've just kind of wanted to stay where I am now. And I really don't want to have the living expenses of being out in the country, because we know there is added expenses between, septic and well and all that stuff prior to building. So that's kind of why I was looking at this. That's basically the only reason.
My concern is the sequence of the building with a lot that's zoned for residential.
Correct.
The expectation is that the principal building on that lot would be a dwelling versus a garage.
And that's why I'm here, because I wanted to talk about this. That's because I'd like to see if I could do that.
Would the intentions be staying by Ma and using the garage until the house went up? Or?
Yeah, and whatever.
Rent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheap rent.
cheap
More
rent.
or less, that would be the idea. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I have some concern about this, in that there is no deadline to start a dwelling on that lot.
And yeah, I can see that being a
There's no
concern.
requirement for you to start a dwelling, and if we grant this exemption, it sets a precedence.
Absolutely, and I understand that concern.
I have a question or comment, if I could. To address that, John, about setting a precedence.
Can you just state your name and
Oh,
address
yes.
for the record, please?
My name is Dawn Iwin, 217 Sunset Avenue. I'm Nick's mom.
Thank you.
Could I have that, Nick? The city has already set numerous precedences by allowing these dwellings to be put up where there will never be a house. I can give you addresses if you'd like. We did discuss this at the planning commission meeting. So due to that, I guess you already have set that precedence. We just want to do it the right way.
So in lots that have been zoned for residential?
Absolutely. And if I can just find them, one would be on the corner of Division and Navarino Street. It's owned by Dusty Moore. That is a garage. Kevin isn't here, but he's also got one on Greenfield, which we've discussed with him. He knows that we were bringing that up. Let's see, there is also one on, it'd be behind like the South Street Apartments. Jumbo Lorenz put that one up some years back. Let's see, oh yes. Okay, Kevin's, Dusty's, yes. Jody and Mark Sauter own that one right now. So they have set precedences. So I guess, I don't know how those got snuck through or whatever word you want to use, but
What's done is done, it's in the past.
Well, they
You're-
weren't
You're
stuck
looking
through
to,
there.
you're
They
looking
came
to
for
do it the
variance.
right way.
They got a variance.
exactly.
They got a variance, that's how, now they don't have to get a variance. But they do have to show a plan, right?
Correct.
Before they do it, they should have to show a plan, and we can say no, based on the plan, but those weren't snuck in. Those were, where they came to the planning commission, asked for a variance, and it was granted.
Are
So-
there any, how are the neighbors? As far as, are there any issues or potential issues? What? Is there anybody that's within the vicinity of where you're planning on doing this that would apply, that's not in favor of it happening?
Well, we have one neighbor here, but I have spoke to adjacent neighbors and they've heard about it. I haven't really, like I said, I haven't set anything in stone here. But as far as I know, as of now, no.
Okay.
But we need to find out more.
And I think, John, you were kind of asking also about, why in a residential area? Well, because he wants his house and his building together for convenience. To have his building in the industrial park isn't what he wants to do. So, he's gonna live there someday. He's not gonna live with me
Absolutely.
forever,
I
so.
mean, if you built the house first, and then 2 years down the road or a year later, he puts the garage up, it's not much different. I understand where your concern is, but I mean, if his plans are to put, a house on there eventually, so instead of, he's gonna put the cart in front of the horse to start out, but he's gotta start somewhere. I mean, he's gotta do it, I can't see where that would be such a concern if he's gonna build a house.
Well, the precedence of him, he will be building a house is something that is not a guarantee. It is not there's no commitment to do that at this point. I would feel much better if we were to take and sequence these, garage then dwelling, if there was a plan that says, we will do the garage first and it will be done at this point, and on this date, 3-4 years in the future, we will start the house. And something that sort of acts as a contract, with the city, so that we are, meeting the requirements of the zoning. Otherwise, the zoning has no meaning. So,
Well, and that's what we're looking to change.
like,
Exactly,
It's-
so
This isn't. if
they've
you're-
allowed variances before.
Yeah.
If
We're
the
looking
ordinance
for
isn't
variance.
changed, I guess then a variance will be requested,
If you're opposed,
because.
John, vote no on the ordinance change.
oh,
Well, keep in mind, this is the first reading. We'll take a motion in a second to look at it and accept it but it has to go to the second reading. The concern is there any changes that are gonna be implemented into the ordinance? I think it'll go back to planning, and planning will take a look at it too, if there's anything they wanna add in there, as far as the type of structure and things like that. All you're doing is granting the ability to do that, to let him build a garage in a residential without a house. There's certain restrictions that can be put on the property that's, yes, Madam Clerk.
I just want to point out too that Nick's not here asking for you to approve him building a garage right now. He's here supporting an ordinance change.
Correct.
And under the way that the Plan Commission set the ordinance change up is that it would allow a conditional use to be applied for to have this garage prior to a house, which also means that every adjoining property owner and owners in the area within so many feet are going to be notified. They'll all have a chance to speak. So it's not that he would just get the chance to go and build a garage immediately. There's processes built into the ordinances, yes.
All we're doing tonight is
Is
approving.
talking about potentially changing an
Yeah,
ordinance,
and
yeah.
making a recommendation for next month to adopt it. He still has hoops to jump through and everything else like anybody else. Absolutely.
So do we need any action?
Well, we will have action when we get into new business.
Okay.
And that's just to make a motion to accept the first reading and then go on to the second reading. Is there anything else you need to add? Does anybody else have any questions of Nick while he's up there? Sir, you in the back there, would you identify yourself, please?
Is that just for that parcel of
Doesn't listen.
property?
Pardon?
Is that for just that parcel of property?
No, if you're gonna accept an ordinance, then you're
So
opening it
You're
up.
not talking about a variance
No.
for that parcel, you're talking about the whole
You're
area
allowing,
that would cover the city.
I can explain.
you wanna,
So- Sure, I can take it. So it's a proposed
Nick.
ordinance change to allow for storage buildings before a house as a conditional use in R2 zones only. So they would have to apply for a conditional use permit and go through the whole process to get that approved.
does that answer your question, sir? Any other questions? Does anybody else have any comments that wants to speak in favor or against this? I think nobody else is here, right, to speak? Okay. Any other questions from the council? If not, then I will just close the public hearing. And then it'll come up under new business. And again, like Jamie, or the clerk, did say, that this is basically changing the ordinance to allow for a storage building prior to, under the conditional use. So that's what we'd be doing. He's still gonna come back, and then he's gonna apply for whatever he's building, and we'll take a look at it then. So if there are no other questions, I deem this public hearing closed. Time is, what do I have, 6:17? Okay. Thank you, Nick. We'll start going under public comment. John, do you have anything tonight for KCEDC?
KCEDC, their executive meeting did not meet on August 21st due to a lack of quorum. I was here at the Personnel Finance Committee, so evidently a lot of other folks had issues as well. There was, however, a strategic planning meeting that took place on the 27th of August. They decided it was way too soon to develop a strategic planning activity. Their plan is to review the old work plan and to update it into an action plan, redevelop the orientation checklist for the executive committee, review old board manual to see if it still applies, focus on board education and board engagement, flesh out workforce and broadband efforts, and that was about it. And we'll be meeting on work plan this Wednesday. And there was also a small discussion on the Economic Development 101 classes that are going to be held.
Same time as the League of Municipality meetings.
Is it? Great.
Yeah, that's why the attendance, that when we talked about some of us going, and we found out it's the same date. And there's some good items on the agenda for the League of Municipality meeting, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's in Green Bay, so we're, it allows for people to go down and take in some of the meeting and come back.
So I was reading some of the.
Yeah,
tracks on
there's some good stuff there, so. Anything else, John, on that?
That's all I have from
Okay.
KCEDC land.
Anybody have any questions of John? Hearing none, we'll move on then to the general bills and credit card payments. Did everybody have a chance to look at them? Any questions on any of the bills? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the general bills and credit card payments with the exception of Wees Memorial.
So move.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by John. Roll call vote, please.
Mary? Dashlet?
Yes.
Cleveland?
Yes.
Gressel?
Yes.
Weeze?
Yes.
Meverden?
Yes.
Havoc?
Yes.
Thank you. Then I'll accept a motion to approve the bill from Wees Memorial.
So moved.
Moved by John,
Second?
second by Mitch. Roll call vote, please.
Cleveland?
Yes.
Gressel?
Yes.
Weeze?
Abstain.
Meverden?
Yes.
Havoc?
Yes.
Mehring? Dashlet?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other claims that have come before the city?
We have the one that everyone knows about pending, and then we did get a claim from somebody with a sewer backup from the heavy rainfall, and that's working through insurance right now.
Okay,
From the first or second?
first
The
one,
first
5
one.
incher. Okay, thank you. Conference attendance, I didn't see any request for any, and we'll talk about later about the League of Municipality meeting coming up, and if you're planning on going to early registration and things like that.
So in the PPP minutes, there was one for Lynn Sheezer and I.
Yep, we only bring department heads
Oh, okay.
and council
Yeah,
forward
we
to
don't-
council
Okay.
for approval.
Now we let that be handled by the manager, so.
Okay,
Did you want to not, did you want to oppose those two? No.
just Lynn.
Okay. All right, then let's move on to committee reports. First one, of course, is Finance and Personnel by yours truly. That meeting was called to order on August 21st at 8:30 a.m. The roll was taken, and we did go over the consideration of bills and claims and conference attendance. There was nobody that appeared for public comment. There was no old business that came before the committee at that time. Public Works Director Matt Murphy and Treasurer Amber Shallow provided the background on an exception that allows cities to elect to perform public construction using their own employees without going out to bid, and we'll act on that tonight. That's an ordinance change. Also, then, we talked about the approving of the hiring of a few individuals down at Park and Rec, and we'll get into those as we get into the new business. There was also a motion made and seconded to approve the promotion of Avery Robertson to the rec supervisor, and that's again a recommendation to the council. They also approved the hiring of Oliver Robertson to serve a dual positions as rec service worker and parks and lawn maintenance worker, and again, that's a recommendation to the council. Committee discussed a conditional use permit issued to Robert Rader Jr. on Fremont Street. There were some concerns about the appearance of his property and also the sign. Talked about adding a fence to try to hide some of the material that he has outside of his property. There was a concern that was expressed by some of the neighbors. And we met with Mr. Rader, and he assures us that there will be a fence going up, probably not by the end of fall, but hopefully by the early part of spring. And we said we would continue to monitor that. There was also a motion made and seconded to finally approve the training and compensation guide for the Algoma Fire and Rescue Department. That motion carried. There was also a motion made and seconded to approve a contract extension with Bay Lakes Regional Planning for the GIS assistance that's currently going on. That motion carried. The mayor informed the committee of the Plan Commission recommendation to allow storage buildings prior to a dwelling as a conditional use in R2. We just got done having a public hearing on that. Also, there was a report given by the treasurer because there were some questions about the remaining capital loan funds from the last 1.5 million and a half that we borrowed. And she gave a report on that, and there's approximately $310,000 left in that. There was also a motion made and seconded to approve a new capital loan fund of $2 million. And those monies, for those of you that live in the city of Algoma and know the condition of our streets, the council has decided to go out and borrow some money so that we can get some of these streets repaired. We just don't have enough funds from tax dollar to go ahead and do that each year and still allow our other departments to run in an economic situation. So we're going to do that, and that was approved on a roll call vote. There was also a motion was made and seconded to approve a bond anticipation note from the Bank of Luxembourg for some miscellaneous projects that we have going on. The treasurer, Amber Shallow, updated the committee on the financing for the filter building repairs at the wastewater treatment facility. The city intends to pay Suez in 2 annual payments, doing draws from the new tax-exempt bond anticipation note from the Bank of Luxembourg. The treasurer also updated the committee on upcoming changeover from Nicolay Bank to Bank of Luxembourg with our general checking account. There was a motion made and seconded to approve the 2019 monitoring, operating, maintenance, reporting contract with TRC, and that contract is for the old landfill out on on going out of town. They're still monitoring wells that have to be kept in place, and the city basically has a contract with that company, with TRC. There was also a report given by the Public Works Director and Treasurer Amber Shallow on the background on the bids that we recently received for the Crescent Beach Stormwater Outfall Project. Due to the bids far exceeding the estimates that we thought the project would have cost us, the bids were all rejected, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to re-bid that in fall, figuring that a lot of the contractors then will be looking for work for next year. And we also did get an extension on the grant money that we got, so we're not losing that. We had a meeting and that got approved. I gave a report on the update of the city administrator's recruitment process. We have now advertised for the city administrator position. We will see what kind of applications we get back, and hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll have somebody in place for January 1st, 2020. There was a motion made and seconded to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statutes 19.851, and then we came back out of closed session per Wisconsin Statute 19.852. And there was a motion made and seconded to put on record the Public Works Director, Matt Murphy, has successfully completed his one-year probationary period and will achieve the next step on the pay scale. I thank Matt for everything he's done. He couldn't be here tonight. He had another commitment, and he called me today and asked if he could be excused, and I granted that. So then the meeting, there was a motion made and seconded to adjourn the meeting. It adjourned at 10:38 a.m. Any questions or comments? Anybody from the audience have any questions on that? John?
There was one item I think you might have missed, Mr. Mayor, and that was Everton moved and seconded by Dashlet on the event application and event
Oh,
policy.
I'm sorry. Yeah. We, that came before the Finance and Personnel several times, and it kept going back. We hope right now, Madam Clerk, that this is the final approval and this thing can now go in place for next year, but we did approve that, so, sorry. Any other questions or comments or corrections? Hearing none, then we're going to move on to protection of persons and property. Scott?
Protections of Persons and Property Committee met on Monday, August 26th here at City Hall at 4 p.m. All members were present. It was held in compliance with the open meeting law. Also in attendance were our fire chief, police chief, city clerk, parks and rec director, and public works director. The agenda and the previous meeting minutes were all approved. There was no public comment. Under department reports, Chief Ackerman presented the report for the rescue. In lieu of Kelly's absence, they had 42 calls in August, 271 calls year to date, and they provided some first aid help on a first aid station for the Shanty Days run. Chief Ackerman provided the report for the fire department. There were 7 calls since the previous report. Their repairs to engine 601 are complete, and the unit is back up in service. 602 is out of service for repairs. Rick Delvo and Don Dahl have decided to rejoin the fire department, which was exciting news. They have previously, and they'll continue to be EMS drivers as well. The employee training and compensation guide that was approved at our previous finance personnel meeting, and we briefly discussed that. They're going to be using funds raised at recent and future events, having plans to purchase some backup cameras and have them installed on each of the piece of the fire and rescue apparatus vehicles. This is not, the plan is to have this done at no cost to the city. Chief Remaker went through and provided the reports for the police department. Through August, at the time of the meeting, there was 178, which is down from previous year, 2018, down from 209. Year-to-date calls were at 925. Through Shanty Days, we only had 1 arrest and 14 citation. Soaring the Shore event went very well. Officer Clayton Parle, who we're our new officer, is completing the OJT is completed on September 1st, and his welcome ceremony is tonight. Field training officer to Temple is He'll start his reserve officer training, new officer that we have part-time in Howard, starting this month. Working on some budget early September for the department, and the speed trailer, which has been around town, is continuing to be used. Under the request for attending seminars, conferences, we had Mitch and Lynn. It was approved to attend the WEMSA conference in November, and Officer Seidel attending the Protecting Children in the Digital Age at Fox Valley Tech in October in Appleton. The bills were approved. Under old business, as previously discussed, we did discuss the update on the event policy, which was gone through. New business was discussed was parking on Lake Street between Clark Street and Steel Street. Concerns were both emergency vehicles having access to that road, as well as it being tight, possibly causing accidents with, especially with boats, trucks and boats and trailers. This is the road that's the most eastern road down by the where concerts in the park are, and it was discussed, or it was a recommendation out of the committee that we have the council suggest having the council change it so that that curb on the eastern side of the road will be painted yellow, and it will be a no parking, only for loading and unloading for events at that pavilion down there. We also had a brief discussion, dialogue about having dogs on Crescent Beach, and there was no action taken. We went through the license applications, all of those checked out, and they were approved. Next month, we are going to discuss the budget for the police department, and then also ordinances as it pertains to our dogs. Next meeting will be held on September 30th, Monday at 4 p.m. here at City Hall, and the meeting adjourned at 5:10 p.m.
Questions or comments? Chief Ackerman, do you have anything to add? You don't want to do a little speech about recruitment at this time? No? Okay. I know you're in the middle of doing that. That's why I thought maybe you wanted to say something. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on to, thanks, Scott. Move on to Marina. John?
The Marina Committee met on August 20th at 5 p.m. All committee members were present. Also present were Matt Murphy and Arnie Mueller. The committee adopted, it was held under the open meeting laws. However, they used very relaxed Robert's rules, where aye and nay were replaced with yup and nope. As a result, we had the approval of the agenda as well as the approval of the meeting minutes from July. There was no public comment. Correspondence, 2 requests for reimbursement were received from Dennis Bilski and Brandon Cooper, and they were read. The approval of the bills, all bills were reviewed and were approved. Management report, report received that the pump out hose was collapsing and needed a more rigid construction to keep from bending. Best options to be explored and options reported back to the committee. The plastic sheeting at the fish cleaning station needs adjusting, and the frame is rusting. Options for rust remedy to be researched and reported to the committee at the next meeting. Captain Troy Matson is requesting a 15-cent per gallon fuel rebate per agreement with the city. Arnie is going to research the minutes and an agreement to determine the specifics of the agreements before a rebate is authorized, at which time we'll probably go ahead and refer that. Under old business, the river dock is now 100% complete with the 12-inch cleats installed. With the hepatitis A immunizations for the staff, 1 has received the immunization series, 3 pending the series to be started in the fall, and the last member will not be coming back for next year, so we will not be pursuing that. Under new business, ADOC, a statutory exemption has been identified that would allow Public Works Department to build this dock and not put it out to bid. This will be taken as an off-season project. Dennis Bilski's request for reimbursement of $200 seasonal dock deposit for a slip that was never used and subsequently rented. Motion to approve the reimbursement made by Lutke, seconded by Klessig. Roll call vote, 4 yups, 0 nopes, and motion was carried. Brandon Cooper, request for reimbursement. 1 month transient rental reimbursement due to job transfer. Slip has been used by some overnight transient dockage. Motion to pay a partial reimbursement of $250 made by Lutke, second by Klessig. Roll call vote, 4 yups, 0 nopes, and the motion was carried. Items for next agenda, maintenance railing and dock plates, Shanty Day fireworks disclosure at time of rental or notification prior to the event, and follow up on the 2020 boat trailer parking ordinance change progress. Next meeting is not September 17th. The next meeting is actually tomorrow. And that was pushed up as a result of the bridge meeting where we would have a closure of traffic starting September 15th. There are some issues that need to be discussed in terms of whether or not we will afford people who have launching privileges up river of the bridge the same courtesy as was granted to the folks who had seasonal boat launch at the Kiwanee Harbor. At that, when we discussed that, I said to Arnie that we need to take a look at what the usage is right now in terms of, are we going to, we'll decide what we're going to do tomorrow.
That'll come before finance then, right?
Yes, it will.
Okay. Anything else?
We adjourned at 5:50.
Question or comments from anybody?
Has any of the other dock owners other than the Boat Club expressed concern, or like Captain K's?
Yes, I believe there was someone from Captain K that asked. It actually occurred immediately after the bridge meeting, where we kind of said, hey, they kind of said, what are you guys going to do here? And I said, I'm not sure yet. We have to take it up with the committee.
I mean, would it be possible with all the river docks are finished, and I'd probably open to allow them to dock there rather than go in and out,
Well,
probably 2 weeks.
docking would be one consideration, launching would be another. Missing a daily launch fee is one thing, missing an overnight dockage fee is another.
It's just that these people didn't know about, initially, nothing was said that this was gonna be closed for the last, basically, month of the fishing season, and people may not have rented at the boat club, they might have rented somewhere else, and I don't think I think it's our issue and not so much the owners, because they didn't know it either.
I appreciate the inconvenience. I know that, we had the meeting in the May 31st, May 30th, somewhere in that neighborhood where we did talk about, at some point, and it was pretty much said, in September, there's gonna be no traffic. So there was
never no traffic. It was those 5 or 6 days, and it was gonna remain open every other part of the process. This has come up because of some of their engineering mistakes and high water level. It was never said it was gonna be closed for the last 2-3 weeks of the season. That was never brought up.
I don't have the videotape in front of me, but, okay.
I don't think it was, and I think it's kinda, and I don't think that many people are going out at this time of the year, but
That was the other piece of it.
if they want to, why not let them bring them over there and dock for 2 weeks? But it's up to you guys.
Well, why don't we just wait to see it after your meeting tomorrow night,
Yeah.
and then it's gotta come
That's good.
before finance and personnel anyways.
You're also welcome to come and join the meeting tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Where is it? Maria?
Down at the marina,
I'll try if I
that's
can.
where we meet.
Any other questions or comments? Arnie, do you have anything to add? I just saw you walk in. Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks, John. Let's move on to Park and Rec. Mitch is gonna do that for Kevin tonight.
Meeting was called to order at 7 PM on August 13th. All members were present except excused were Sarah Olenichek and Paul Louise, also present with Sarah. The agenda, the minutes, and the bills were approved. Public comment, members from the Committee for an All Abilities Park in Algoma spoke to the committee on different sites within the city they would like to see about installing a park, especially geared to people with disabilities. Very preliminary. Old business, rentals for July and August. The Youth Club had 1, Parks 3, Knutson Hall 3, picnic tables 3, and we're getting an estimate for a comprehensive outdoor plan from Veerbecker and Bay Lakes Regional Planning Commission. Cemetery report, the crew had been doing general maintenance. She has made various attempts to contact land surveyor who is going to do work on mapping out our new plot. We're looking at adding, we're basically running out of sites for burial plots. So they're looking at adding a road and putting water to the west. And so far we haven't been able to find anybody to do that. Cemetery, well, I'm done with that. Parks, programming updates. Sorry about that. No, I lost my spot. Thank you. Summer programs have all come to an end. Flag football starts September 14th. Robertson will be working with Erica Berger and have some high school only nights in October. Community building, with the heavy rain last month, there was some leakage in Legion Hall. Parks going to be installing a new fence at Christmas Tree Park to help with the issue of cars and trucks parking in the grass. We'll also be installing donor plaques. Fall projects will be moving the backstop fence at Peterson Park. Crescent Beach bids for stormwater redesign. We talked about that already. LNRP is writing a grant from the Forestry Service for $15,000 for planting trees and making the waterways resilient. Committee discussed capital improvement projects for the next 5 years and also talked about potential projects for 2020 and how we will fund them. Committee took time to talk about ideas about what they would like the city to hire another full-time employee to be shared with Public Works. Robertson will reach out to Matt Murphy and look at the budget for next year. Committee talked about boat trailer issues at Olson Park. Also talked about Richmond Park and the issues with the property not having an easement to the upper level. Motion made by Gressel, second by Kirkman to submit the new hirees, which we've already discussed. Next meeting is September 18th at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. at the Youth Club. Meeting adjourned at 8:15.
Any questions? Sarah, are you there? Do you have anything to add?
I don't know that song.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to Public Works, Lee. Thanks.
Meeting was called to order at 4 p.m. in compliance with the open meeting law. All members were present. Also present was Matt Murphy, Jeff Huffman, and Pete Hawk. 3 members of the Summit Beach Condo Committee was also present. Approval, there was a motion to make. Motion and seconded to approve the order of the agenda. Motion carried. Motion and seconded to approve the minutes of July 30th. Motion carried. Public comment, John Cross from Summit Beach Condos, along with others, just wanted to thank the committee and city for the extra effort they're making to correct their drainage system problem. Presentation of bills, of approval of the bills. There was a motion and a second to accept the bills. Motion carried. There was a motion and a second to accept the sewer credit as read. Motion carried. Reports, Jeff Huffman from Suez gave his monthly report, and yes, the water processing was high due to the recent storms. Other than that, it was normal. Completed the lift station operational inspections, had failures on number 1 lift station at Sunset Avenue, replaced pump. On July 20th, 2019, wastewater treatment facility flow surged 2 million to 3 million gallons a day flowing through the plant. Annual maintenance was done and there was 4 after-hour call-outs. No order and noise complaints. Matt Murphy gave his report, annual maintenance in the shop, and attended several meetings with the bridge construction and other projects going on in the city. He wanted to thank the fire department and all personnel who helped at the time of the storm flooding to make the things go smoothly and get the city back to normal. both July 20th and August 7th storms. Phase 2 of the 2nd Street and 1st Street project should resume the first week in September, continuing to work with the wastewater treatment facility in Suez on ongoing projects. Old business, there was discussion on the stormwater lift station at the north end of 6th Street, waiting on info from Cedar. New business, discussion at Maritime Point and Summit Beach condos drainage issues, as discussed earlier, waiting on engineers to present a solution, if any. Discussion on August 7, 2019 storms, updating the drainage problem at 510 5th Street parking lot, tabled, waiting on more info. Next meeting is September 24th. Motion and second to adjourn. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 4:41 p.m.
Questions or comments? Hearing none. Thanks, Lee. All right, there was no planning commission, there was no community development committee meeting, there was no tourism and promotion, there was no cable, so now we're going down to library. Jake?
Hello, good evening. How is everybody today? Just an update on cable legislation statewide. The League of Municipalities is working and holding a legislation day in Madison to lobby legislators regarding Measure 50 and maintaining the status quo on the cable fee transfers. So I just wanted to keep everybody updated so that the league is pushing to maintain that well into the future. Library report. Library report, August 19th, 2019. All members were present, no members absent, obviously. August 19th was called to order by Ann Schoenborn at 4 p.m. A motion to approve the agenda was made by Lila Schlorf and seconded by Sue Haas. Motion carried. Public input, none. Motion to approve the minutes on July 15th meeting of the Board of Trustees was made and carried. Friends of the Library report. Sue Haas reported that the Book Corner successful Shanty Day sale. Say that 3 times real fast. Shanty Day sale. I would encourage you, go visit the Book Corner. There's some great deals on books. The Friends of Book Corner have recently participated in Algoma Night Out, concerts in the park, and Soar on the Shore. Director's report. The library staff are busy planning future fall programming, including Lego Club, teen and adult writing programs, teen after-school gaming club, Maker Wednesdays, book clubs, and more. If you have any interest, please visit the library. The library hosted its 2nd annual story walk on the boardwalk, and it occurred last month during Soar on the Shore. The library received an innovative and improvement grant from Nicolay Federated Library System. The grant goes towards improving the library's makerspace. The goal of the makerspace is to let patrons learn through hands-on experimentation with an opportunity to construct and explore. They have a variety of things that you can do with your hands and kind of hobbies and things that you might want to pursue in the future. The first phase of the computer replacement plan is complete. John from NFLS will be back next few weeks to finish up. Algoma yearbooks 1950 through 2018 have been sent out to get digitized. Those will be available on our website in the future. So if you ever wondered what your parents or your grandparents or even you look like in the Algoma yearbook, you're going to be able to look it up online here shortly. Braylon attended the 2019 Youth Institute next week in Lake Geneva. September is library card sign-up month. If you don't have a library card, please stop by the library and get one. Revenues and disbursements were presented to the library board, and the bills were and motions were made to be paid. There was no old business. New business was a discussion of the 2020 library budget, and a motion to approve the library budget was made, seconded, and carried. Closed session, none. Open session, none. And items for next meeting, doesn't look like we have any in particular, probably the same old stuff. Last month, in August, the library purchased 98 books, 12 DVDs, and this month's highlight. Amber, do we have the volume up on my microphone a little bit? They are just for you. Where are you?
Push play.
Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear.
Okay, and anybody have any guess what we're celebrating?
Friends.
We're celebrating exactly the 25th anniversary of the beginning of Friends. And if you want to join your friends, Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Joey, Chandler, and Ross, stop down to the library. They've got a variety of Friends-related material, all kinds of DVDs related to historic shows, movies, and film. Stop in. Have a good time. That's
Thank you.
it.
Any questions or comments of Jake's report? It's always,
I do with Kathy.
Kathy?
With digitizing the yearbooks, they started doing the record heralds and they got through 1960.
Yes.
Is
we were
that
able to-
dead?
No, it's not dead. We were able to do that with the science foundation. So, in the future, we won't be able to do such a large, it's not dead. It's something that's definitely still in the forefront.
But you need donations, clearly.
Yes, that would help.
Okay. I enjoy those.
Lots of
Any
people
other-
do, so we definitely want to keep that up.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions of Jake or Kathy? Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Jake. Let's move on to medical board, John.
Medical Board met on August 22nd at the North Wing Meeting Room. The following members were present: Joan Gressel, John Pavick, Jan Dart, and Wayne Schmidt. Excused was Don Wagner, Marge Rodri, and Sue Hepp, and that was just barely a quorum. Others present were Jean Marsh, Carol Nell, Kevin Clark, and Matt Murphy. The agenda was approved, the meeting minutes were approved, there was no public comment. Under old business, the parking lot update, there were no bids received by 2 p.m. on August 8th deadline, and motion made by Pavick to reject all bids for the parking lot and to rebid the project in December of 2019 through January 2020 timeframe. It was seconded by Gressel. Roll call vote was 4 yes, 0 no. Motion was carried. Board reviewed both the back lot and the front lot areas requiring attention. Options were provided by Matt Murphy. Actions on options delayed until after the financial report. And with the financial report, our occupancy rate was 89%. Average daily census of 37.34. Patient revenues was $318,092. Operating expenses, operating revenues were $346,803, with operating expenses at $293,815, for a net profit of $36,387. Capital outlays, we had $1,599 in capital outlays. The bills, motion was made to approve the bills. Motion by Pavick, seconded by Dart. Roll call was 4 yes, 0 no. Motion carried for approval of the bills. There are multiple competing concerns requiring payment and limiting the parking lot options. Motion by Dart, second by Schmidt, to defer all non-city blacktop repairs to the parking lot. Given the competing demands for funding, the $6,566 bid that we received is declined, and that motion was carried. Motion by Dart, second by Pavick, to authorize replacement of the entrance door 6 by Tri-City Glass in an amount not to exceed $6,475. Condition of this door is a state survey concern for a finding on their next survey of the facility. The motion was carried. Motion by Schmidt, second by Dart, to make payment of $7,180.50 to Cedar Corporation for engineering services. Motion was carried. Motion by Dart, second by Pavick, to make payments to Cedar in 3 payments spanning September, October, and November 2019, and that motion was also carried. Under new business, the patient-driven payment model, also known as PDPM, is the new Medicare model for payment. It's an major overhaul to the current skilled nursing facility prospective payment system. It is designed to address concerns that a payment system is based on volume of services provided creates inappropriate financial incentives. This is something that we've been preparing for over a year in terms of not doing the stacking of services just to receive greater reimbursement. It is truly centered on the resident as to what their individual needs are and making sure that those are, the care that's being provided is appropriate to that, to their diagnosis. So in that respect, we believe that we are well suited and well prepared for that change. Let me see. We are also, as a result, also moving towards something called e-solutions. And there will be an $850 initial setup with a $470 monthly fee after that. We can cancel at any time after the trial period to essentially look at our billing practices, to run them through a scrubber to make sure that they will pass on first pass through, as opposed to being kicked back and resubmitted. Understanding business, the Friends of the Medical Center, Algoma Medical Center, requested permission to install a wheelchair accessible glider on the patio for resident use. Motion by Pavic to approve the request, second by Schmidt. Motion was carried. It will be a nice addition to that patio for the residents. Administrator's report was received and accepted. Census volatility expected in the coming weeks. Dietary is one aide out. So Mary Murphy is taking shifts and doing cross-training to address this. Staff skill competency testing continues. Good preparation for the state surveys. In other words, every day is survey day at the medical center. Going as fast as I can, honest. Work started on the 2020 budget. New federal payment system makes revenue forecasting impossible at this point. Survey preparations continue. Activity programming performance improvement plan is underway. Restorative nursing was a focus for our July and August timeframe. Next board meeting is at 4:30 on Thursday, September 26th, at the north wing of the long-term care facility. Adjourned at 6:24 p.m. Any questions?
I'm presuming that a glider, you're not talking ultralights, you're talking about swings, right?
Oh, no, we're talking about the kind that take off and fly over and
Excellent.
cruise around.
They're gonna be rides
Oh,
for
no,
everybody?
you're right, it's
Oh,
more like a
okay,
swing.
all right.
Any other questions, constructive questions of John's report?
Thanks for the qualifier.
Yeah, hearing none, then thank you, John. We'll move on to utility. Lee.
President Guy Hosh called a meeting of the Algoma Utility Commission to order at 5:30 p.m. in compliance with the open meeting law. All members are present. Others present: Matt Murphy, Scott Wees, Pete Hawk, and Nancy Johnson. Motion was made and seconded to adopt the agenda. Motion carried. Motion was made and seconded to approve the previous meeting minutes. Motion carried. Comments of anyone present? Murphy was present to discuss a blacktop bill he received from Advanced Construction for additional blacktop replacement near the river crossing project. Murphy and Hawk will discuss this and take this in measurement between them. New business, none. Old business, 2019 water project updates. The water main for the new river crossing project is complete, except for the fact that the dog park lawn repair is not done. Hawk had notified the contractor and will contact them again to inform them that the park is lined up for them to complete the lawn repair. The crew installed 3 valves on Navarino and Steel Street in order to maintain water service to customers during the next phase of the water projects near the 2nd Street Bridge project. Planning Commission update, none. No new utility projects. Written requests for Wisconsin Public Power, Incorporated Energy, WPPI Energy, Community Contributions, and Economic Development Funds were reviewed. There was a motion made and seconded to distribute the community funds as follows. $400 to Algoma Public Library for the 1,000 book before kindergarten program. $600 for the signage and native garden transition at the Algoma Chamber Visitor Center. $500 to the Violence Intervention Project Incorporated for enhanced resource for sexual assault, child abuse, violence, victim bullying services, prevention, education program. The Economic Development Funds as follows. $1,000 to the City of Algoma Parks and Rec Department for the kayak dock platform section. Roll call vote, all yes, motion carried. Motion was made and second to approve the payment of bills and payroll. All in favor said yes, motion carried. Motion was made and second to approve the monthly finance report, motion carried. Reviewed manager's report, reviewed officer's report, office manager's report. Motion was made and second to adjourn, motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 6:25 p.m. Next meeting is Wednesday, September 18th at 5:30 p.m.
Questions or comments? Pete, do you have anything to add? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Lee.
I have one thing. Mr.
Yeah, sorry.
I wasn't sure if I should have it under Public Works or on the utilities, but since the Second Street and Navarino intersection was closed off this past week, and we've started tearing up the streets a little bit, the businesses on Second Street expressed quite a bit of concern, and I would ask anyone in the city, if ever you wanted to support businesses in Algoma, those on Second Street between Steel Street and Navarino sure could use some help. So that's my only pitch at this point.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, then let's move on to Board of Appeals, Jamie.
The August 20th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals was called to order at 6 o'clock by Chairman Chuck Hutter. A public hearing notice was published in the Press Gazette on August 4th and mailed to the surrounding property owners on July 30th. The meeting minutes of the July 10th meeting were approved. The Zoning Board of Appeals case was brought forth by applicants Marty and Sherry LaFond, who were interested in purchasing 2 parcels located on Deer Avenue. They wished to purchase and combine both lots for the purpose of constructing a storage building with a maximum 22-foot height and to apply for a variance to the zoning code, which requires a principal permitted use prior to an accessory building and a maximum accessory height of 18 feet. The public hearing was opened by the chairman. All those wishing to comment on the case spoke. The only concern that was voiced by neighbors and adjoining property owners was that any construction provide appropriate drainage so that there was not increased water drainage to their properties. There was a motion by Bill Bush, second by Bruce Charles, to grant the variance request to the LaFonds for purposes of constructing a storage building without a principal permitted use upon the combination of those 2 parcels on Deer Avenue with a maximum 22-foot building height and contingent upon the construction commencing and completing within 3 years of the variance being granted, with consideration to the neighbors regarding property drainage. And they direct the building inspector to issue a permit once they are ready to go. Meeting adjourned at 6:25.
Any questions or comments? Thanks, Jamie. Then let's move on to Development Authority, Scott.
The Redevelopment Authority meeting was held in City Hall chambers at 5:30 on Thursday, June 13th. All members were present with the exception of Jake. The meeting was held in compliance with the open meeting law. The agenda was approved. The minutes of the previous June 13 meeting was approved. The chairman asked if anybody would like to speak under public comment. After receiving no comments, we moved on through the agenda. The chairman opened up the public hearing on the RDA plan for redevelopment area number 1. at 5:39 and turn the floor over to Mr. Gary Becker to introduce the item. Gary, with GWB's professional service, gave a brief history of the TID number 3 and the reason for creation of the TID and the RDA. John Cross asked the plan before the RDA approval matches before what was going on. The only change that was basically made is that the instead of running the loop, which everybody here is aware of, instead of running the loop, it was taken out on County K. Chair then opened up to the floor for public comment. Larry Midbow out of Edgerton made a couple of comments in reference to the RA1. He just had some questions in regards to his property values and made a comment about the old dump site that was down in TID number 3. After there was nobody else wishing to comment, the public hearing closed at 5:43. There was a resolution approving the RD redevelopment plan for RA1, which motion carried. The city, there was a recommendation the city council authorize financing for projects for RA1 TID number 3, motion carried. There was open discussion to consider the blight investigation of AD Evelyn's Edition, Block 10. Essentially what the RDA decided was to have GWD Services help with the blight investigation and open that up for a proposal that Gary had given, the amount of $3,100 and $3123.93. Surrounding blocks, the surrounding blocks are also going to be looked at as far as blight investigation as well. We moved with an agreement with GW Services to complete the blight study, and the group discussed the next meeting will be sometime in October. The meeting adjourned at 6:05 p.m.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, thanks, Scott. There are no other reports to come before the Common Council at this time. I'll accept a motion to approve the receipt of the reports.
So moved.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Eugene. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Old business, we're gonna start out right away with ordinance 814. This is the second reading and adoption, and this is the code of ordinance along chickens within the city of Algoma. I'll accept a motion to adopt that.
Moved.
Moved by Jake,
Second.
second by John. Roll call vote, please.
Mehring.
Aye.
Dashlet.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Gressel.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Meverden.
Yes.
Papik.
Yes.
Thank you. Next one is ordinance 816, and that's creating section 3.12 of chapter 3 of the City of Algoma Code of Ordinances regarding the bidding for public construction, and this also is a second reading, so we need to adopt this evening.
Moved.
Moved by
Second.
Jake, second by Lee. Any questions? If not, roll call vote.
Meverden.
Yes.
Papik.
Yes.
Mehring.
Aye.
Dashlet.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Gressel.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Thank you. Under new business, consideration of applications for a new operator license. These have gone through the public PP committee, correct, Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going down to C.
I'm gonna take A, and I'm going to take B, and C is a different type of license, so I'm gonna take A and B. I'll accept a motion on that.
So moved.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Mitch. Any questions or comments on any of these individuals? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Consideration for a new transit merchant license. This is something new. It's for the Paradise Food LLC food truck.
So moved.
Moved by Scott.
Second.
Second by Jackie. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Ordinance 817, this is amending section 1806 of the Code of Ordinance for the City of Algoma, Wisconsin relating to storage structures as a conditional use in R2. This is the first reading. I'll accept a motion to approve the first reading.
So moved.
Moved by Scott.
Second.
Second by Eugene. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mehring.
Aye.
Dashlet.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Gressel.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Meverden.
Yes.
Papik.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item E, and this is to approve, and these all come from Finance and Personnel. Approve the hiring of Emerson Wallace, Erica Berger, and Sydney Gillett as rec service workers for the Algoma Park and Rec Department. Moved by Jake.
Second.
Second by John. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Do F and G together?
Yeah, F and G, I'll just read those. Move to approve Avery Robertson to rec supervisor for the Algoma Park and Recreation, and also to hire Oliver Robertson to serve dual positions as rec service worker and parks and lawn maintenance worker for Algoma Parks and Rec.
So move.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Mitch. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to approve the revisions of the event application and policies.
So moved.
Moved by Scott.
Second.
Second by Jackie. Any questions or comments? I think this is finally going through. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I motion to approve an employee training compensation guide for the Algoma Fire and Rescue Department.
So moved.
Moved by Scott,
Second.
second by John. Any questions or comments? This is another one that's finally getting adopted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to reject all the bids and authorize rebidding for the Crescent Beach Stormwater Improvement Project.
So moved.
Moved by Jake,
Second.
second by John. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution 977, authorizing signature for bond anticipation notes, and that's with the Bank of Luxembourg.
So moved.
Moved by Mitch,
Second.
second by Lee. Any questions or comments? Not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Resolution 978, authorizing a contract with TRC Environmental Corporation.
So moved.
Moved by John,
Second.
second by Mitch. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Resolution 979, approving the redevelopment plan for redevelopment project area number 1 as an official plan. That comes out of the RDA meeting. Moved by Scott,
So moved.
Second.
second by Eugene. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Resolution 980, authorizing a contract with GWB Professional Services for Blight Study Number 2.
So moved.
Moved by Scott,
Second.
second by Mitch. Any questions or comments?
That was the 3100, is that?
Yes.
is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. And that came from a recommendation from the RDA.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I do have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. How's that for moving through Clayton, okay? All right, at this time, I moved item, from the beginning of the agenda, we moved item 7 down to this point. I'm gonna call on Chief Remaker, who's gonna come up to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to say some quick words. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. Thank you, Pastor Monk, for being here, officers of the Algoma Police Department. Ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, the family of Clayton, who are here today. What we're doing today is we're actually welcoming and introducing our newest officer to the Algoma Police Department, Clayton Powell, who came from the Sheriff's Department. We're really fortunate. He just completed a rigorous 2-month training, on-the-job training with our training officer here, Brad Temple, and actually is working the streets of Algoma. I'll try to make this quick and short to the point. How we'll do this, I'll get off the stage here and we'll have the pastor come up. He'll do a quick invocation, a small prayer, and then we'll start reading his bio and his family, his lovely wife, Mary over there, and his son James will come up and actually pin his badge on. So, without any further ado, Pastor, if you want to come up and please do the prayer, please.
Thank you. We pray. Heavenly Father, we are so thankful that you hear and answer all of our prayers for the sake of our Savior. And so we pray with boldness and confidence on behalf of Clayton Parle. Lord, I ask for courage to face and conquer my own fears, courage to take me where others will not go. I ask strength of body to protect others, and strength of spirit to lead others. I ask for dedication to my job, to do it well, dedication to my community, to keep it safe. Give me, Lord, concern for those who trust me and compassion for those who need me. But please, Lord, through it all, be at my side. Amen.
Clayton, Mary. So bidding Clayton's badge today will actually be his wife Mary and his son James.
Come on, Jimmy.
I think he wants to take ice cream, that's what he's after.
Come on, James.
He wants the badge?
Yeah, he
wants the
likes
badge.
that.
I ain't giving that
Am I gonna give it
I'm
back?
not giving that up. Have to
Can you
cough
give it
up
to Mama
another
so she
one.
can put it on for me?
Oh,
Okay,
here
you
comes
can
the
help
pin
Mama.
stuck.
Pounded it nice and hard.
Okay, and now I'll go ahead and read his bio. Clayton was born and raised in Kewanee County, grew up on his family's farm with his siblings Brianna, Jacoby, Brittany, and his parents Melanie and Brian. Clayton developed a natural interest in law enforcement as many of his childhood mentors were being police officers. Clayton graduated from Kewanee High School and joined the United States Air Force, attaining the rank of Staff Sergeant. Clayton attended the Security Forces Academy in Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, where he earned his law enforcement certification. Clayton then continued to expand his experience as a law enforcement officer at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. After serving 6 years with honorable service in the United States Air Force, Clayton joined the Kewanee Sheriff's Department in the Jail Dispatch Division. On July 18th, Clayton left the Sheriff's Department and started working full-time with the Algoma Police Department as a patrol officer in training. Clayton is a graduate of the Community College of the Air Force and is currently attending Ashford University, working towards completing his bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Clayton has become certified law enforcement officer in the state of Wisconsin when he completed his Wisconsin reciprocity test on March 21st. Clayton is married to his high school sweetheart, Mary, since 2012. Together, Clayton and Mary are proud parents of their 3-year-old son, James. Clayton brings a strong background of law enforcement and leadership from this military experience. He looks forward to helping the Algoma Police Department to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Algoma. A few folks there. So having said that, Clayton, you're off. Gotta put the badge on. Stab it in really hard.
Draw blood.
James, you gotta hit it really hard. Gotta hit it really hard.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming and being here for me, my family, pastor, mayor, the city council. I'm glad to be here in Algoma. I'm very excited for the future. This is a great community. A lot of good things are going to happen here and going to continue to happen. I thank you guys for that. I look forward to the future.
Thank you. Clayton, I'd just like to make one comment. I want to thank your wife for convincing you to come to work for the city of Algoma.
That was a big part of it.
I'm glad you're here, and I know you'll do a lot of great things for us, and we appreciate you coming aboard. Thank you
so
very much.
Thank you.
Just so everybody knows, I'm just going to do a little mayor's report, and then we have cake and ice cream and such. So please stick around, enjoy, welcome him. If you haven't had a chance to meet him, meet his family. I know his wife's family very well. I know Lee does. I think you guys shovels Lee's driveway, don't you, or something like that? But let me just do a quick mayor's report, and then we'll get on to adjourn, and we'll enjoy the festivities. A couple things from me. I just wanted to give a little update. Since Matt wasn't here tonight, the 2nd Street Bridge construction is underway. Beginning Sunday, September 15, the waterway will no longer be navigable under the bridge. Contractor is working on getting a second crew in place to begin work on the north side of the bridge by the end of the week. By 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, the sanitary sewer will be completed on 2nd Street. The crew will then start doing the water tie-in at the intersection of 2nd Street and Navarino Street. And again, 2nd Street will be completed in gravel, so people will have access to those businesses. The storm sewer work will begin on Monday, September 16th, after the Wet Whistle Wine Fest, and that'll approximately last 4 days on 1st Street, and that should begin Monday, September 23rd. Also, work on South Lake Street will start back up on Monday, September 23rd, with approximately 3 weeks of work schedule, and that's the one that's going out to the new condos. So if you have any questions on any of that, please reach out to our Public Works Director. Again, reminder, this weekend, of course, is one of the last festivities here in the city of Algoma. It is the Wet Whistle Wine Fest. Starts Friday evening. Friday evening, there is no admission charge. The fire department and rescue squad will be serving their famous steak sandwiches and chicken sandwiches down there Friday night and also Saturday. There is a cover charge on Saturday. I know Big Mouth is playing Saturday, so that's a band that draws a lot of different people. So enjoy the weekend, stay safe, and I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by John, second by Lee. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.